Hey, what's going on, guys? I am Jake from today'siphone.com, and I'm disappointed. As you all probably know, Apple held its Let's Talk iPhone event yesterday, and they announced some sort of new devices, so let's talk about it. Now, I don't have to tell you guys about the insane amount of hype surrounding this event. People have been talking about the next-gen iPhone literally since the iPhone 4 came out. There are a bunch of rumors saying, there's going to be an iPhone 5 with a redesigned body, A5 processor, better camera, bigger screen, all that fun stuff. And there were also rumors saying that there would be an iPhone 4S, not really too many external changes, just some internal stuff. And then there were those rumors that said Apple would release both of those devices at the same time, and it was all very unclear. I, as you know, was cautiously optimistic, thinking that, no, it doesn't make sense for Apple to release an iPhone 4S. Why would they do such a stupid thing when we've been waiting for 14 months to see an iPhone 5? And that's what they did. You may be familiar with the design of the device. Looks like this. There's really no change externally at all between the iPhone 4 and the iPhone 4S. So, I mean, your cases will still work, which is nice. The 4S has got the same 3.5-inch multi-touch Retina display that you may see on the iPhone 4. But basically, once you go from the screen in, it's all new. Starting with the dual-core A5 processor with enhanced CPU that's supposed to be up to 7 times faster than what is on the iPhone 4. It is a CDMA and GSM compatible world phone with 14.4 megabytes per second upload and 5.8 megabytes per second download, which is very good. Comes in 16 gigabyte, 32 gigabyte, and 64 gigabyte, which I didn't think they were going to do because of iCloud, but they did end up offering a 64 gigabyte version. It'll start at $199 for the 16 gig, go to $299 for the 32 gig, and $399 for the 64 gig on contract, which is pretty high. But they are also selling the white or black 8GB iPhone 4 for just $99. And the iPhone 3G, which I thought was going to disappear, is actually still available for free on a 2-year contract. Another one of the major things Apple upgraded was the camera. It now boasts 8 megapixels, but they also did a bunch of other stuff with the aperture and the lens. So the camera now has faster shutter times and works better in low light conditions and better white balance. And as far as video is concerned, the iPhone 4S can record 1080p HD video. It's got an image stabilization utilizing the A5 processor with the gyroscope. All in all, the camera is definitely one of the best, if not the best change between the 4 and the 4S. And to top it all off, Apple fixed the antenna system and improved the battery, so now you get up to 8 hours of 3G talk time. Oh, and it's available on Sprint, which is awesome. Moving on to iPods, Apple announced a sort of kind of new iPod Nano and a sort of kind of new iPod Touch. No big changes here. Basically, the iPod Touch stays exactly the same. It gets a little bit of a price drop, and it comes in white. The iPod Nano also basically stays the same. It now comes in a couple more colors. It's a couple UI changes, and it also drops in price a little bit. Nothing remotely exciting there at all. It would have been nice to see some new revolutionary stuff in the iPod line, but honestly, Apple doesn't need to change that much. They dominate the portable MP3 player market, so this isn't too much of a shock. The one plus side to the iPod news is that Apple did not kill off the iPod Classic or the iPod Shuffle, as rumors suggested the company might. So that's very good. Those will be around at least until the holiday season, but we didn't see any changes there at all. Now, luckily, who was ever planning the event decided to bring back the One More Thing category. If you remember at WWDC, there was no One More Thing, and people were pretty upset about it, so they brought it back, and they used the segment to introduce Siri, which is a voice recognition and control program on the iPhone 4S. Now, I gotta say, this is really cool. It works just like all those, computer movies in the 80s said it would, where you just speak to the computer and it knows what you're saying, it interprets, multiple variations of the same request, and it completes it for you, and then tells you how it did. You can ask your phone, am I going to need an umbrella today? Or will it be cold in San Francisco next week? Or find restaurants around my town that serve good Italian food. And Siri will recognize your request and return, some useful information in an only slightly creepy computer voice. It's a shame that this is limited to the iPhone 4S, but I mean, there had to be some reason to upgrade. For the rest of the event, we might as well have been watching a rerun of WWDC. They just ran over iCloud and iOS 5 and basically everything that we could have read on the Apple website for months now. All in all, I find myself torn because as I'm listing the features and stuff that they announced, it doesn't really sound all that bad. In fact, some of it, like the camera and Siri, are actually pretty cool, but it's just so boring. All of the stuff Apple debuted was at the bottom of the totem pole where the rumor mill is concerned. You know, it was the stuff that was basically confirmed. Everybody expected to see this sort of stuff in the first 5 minutes of the presentation to get us hyped up for the really cool stuff that was to follow afterwards. But nothing followed afterwards. It's like we got all excited, blew out the birthday candles, and then there was no cake. It's like the doorbell rang and we got all excited and ran to open the door and there was nobody there. You know, we got the boring appetizer, but we got kicked out of the restaurant before the awesome entree. I just got a words with friends. I asked you guys on Twitter if you could describe the event in one word, what would it be? And here are some of the best responses. Disappointing, lackluster, disappointing, underwhelming, flat, awkward, sucks, subdued, what? So, there you have it. Also, did anybody else think it was weird that Tim Cook didn't announce the new iPhone? As new CEO, shouldn't he sort of establish that he's in charge? That's just one thing I noticed. Just to run down the release dates again, new iPod Nano is available now, new iPod Touch goes on sale on the 12th, new iPhone is pre-order on the 7th, and it's released on the 14th, and iCloud and iOS 5 go live on the 12th. In the comment section down below, let me know if you're planning to upgrade to the iPhone 4S, and if so, what device are you upgrading from? I have a feeling that people on the 3G or the 3GS will be much more inclined to upgrade than people on the 4, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Okay, well that's the main stuff from the October 4th event. If you guys want to check out our full coverage on everything that was announced yesterday, you can head down to the description below. I'll put the links to all of our write-ups and reviews and all that fun stuff. And if you want to let me know how you feel about the iPhone 4S and the new iPod Touches and whatever else, definitely feel free to do so on my Twitter at twitter.com/tipjake. I try to respond to everybody that tweets me, although with the iPhone event it's been kind of crazy, but definitely follow me on Twitter and we'll talk about stuff. And don't forget, for more news, views, and reviews, definitely head over to today'siphone.com. Also, what do you guys think of the desk background area? I kind of like it. I think I may move my cards and poster over here instead. Feedback would be much appreciated.